So today I'm going to lecture today on Marx. You're going to want to take some notes on this. The very first thing we need to know about Marx is that he is a student of philosophy, and his first set of ideas are about what makes us human. We covered this last time that I lectured. And for Marx, what makes us human is our creative capacity, otherwise known as labor. The ability to make of the world around us what we imagine in our head, to shape the external world. You know what? I don't like walking around with bare feet. I'm going to make shoes. I imagine the shoes first, and then I bring to bear my creative energy and my physical capacity, and I shape the world around me to make shoes. But it's not only the physical world, it's also the social world that we shape. Right? I imagine a family, and I engage in certain activities across my lifespan to construct that family. So that is essentially what makes us human to Marx. The second principle then to understand from Marx is that we can organize labor. And that is the basis of society. When a group of people come together and decide to construct their labor in a certain pattern, that's society. The third principle then to know about Marx is that the way you organize labor has certain power consequences. Some people benefit, some people do not benefit. When you take all of the creative capacity of a society, the labor of a society, and you organize it in a certain way, whether that way be the manor system, or the industrial system, or the information age that we live in now, however you organize the creative capacity, the labor of the society, we'll call that the forms of production. That is, the ideas of a society, the dominant ideas of the society grow out of the relationships of the society. So if we were to go and look at the dominant ideas of feudal Europe, those ideas proffered by the church or the thinkers of the time, to us would be silly, but in the time made total sense and justified the relations of production and the forms of production. Just as today, ideas like meritocracy, or the notion that the harder you work, the further ahead you get, even though I can show you data that will prove to you that's not true, we still believe deeply in that idea, right? Why? Because that idea comes out of this system and reinforces or makes natural or right the forms of production. So the people in the society believe in the system. And that's how the whole system works, according to Marx. That's how the matrix works, if we go back to that metaphor. So surplus labor is the labor not paid, the labor cost not paid to the workers because of the dollar per hour calculation. Everybody remember that? See some nodding? Okay. Otherwise known as profit. Right? Remember, Marx's position on this is that's theft. You have stolen what rightly belongs to the workers through this magical calculation of dollars per hour. The periodic economic crisis. He says built into capitalism is the necessity that every so often the economy will crash and every so often the economy will take off. That's the way capitalism works. It's predictable, and it's necessary for capitalism to function. So the economy goes on a curve like this. Okay? In fact, we just came through, or are on our way through, one of these lows. Pretty deep low. And believe it or not, Marx in the 1840s is saying this is going to happen. It's not going to happen once. It's not going to happen twice. It's going to happen regularly. Now, it's when the economy goes down because of one industry bubble, it affects everybody. Right? When the economy went down in housing, that meant a catastrophic wave out through the economy so that people making cars are also affected. And if people making cars are also affected, then the people who do the dry cleaning for the people who make cars are affected. And if those people are affected, then the people who ship the dry cleaning chemicals to the dry cleaners are also affected. So it ripples out through the economy like a wave. Okay? And so you have this periodic economic crisis. And from Marx's perspective, he says, remember, there are owners and there are workers. And in a system like this, the owners and the workers are affected differently. In a system like this, the owners, they kind of ride the wave like this. Because they have so much wealth that when the economy tanks, it doesn't matter because their wealth is not dependent on salary. Right? Owners don't get their wealth from salary. Where do they get their wealth from? Where do owners get their wealth from?
Assets.
They get their wealth from profit. Right? So their profit goes up, they bank a lot of it, their profit goes down a little bit. Their profit goes up, their profit goes down a little bit. Their profit goes up, their profit goes down a little bit. They don't have to be employed. They don't have to be collecting a paycheck because their wealth comes from profit. The worker, on the other hand, gets their wealth from the paycheck, the dollar per hour paycheck, right? So the worker rides this wave. You know, I got a job, I got a better job, I got a really good job, my wages are going up, my benefits are awesome, I'm loving life, oh crap. My job is not so great. My salary's going down, they're cutting my benefits, damn, I lost my job. Right? That's the flow for the worker. Marx says this is not sustainable. As the economy gets bigger and bigger, and as this dip gets deeper and deeper and deeper, the workers are not going to put up with it. Eventually, the workers are going to get really pissed off. Right? And in London at his time, remember, this dip is getting so deep that they're not even paying subsistence wages anymore. They're not even paying you enough to live on. You can't even survive. Unions are responsible for the 8-hour-day workday. Without unions advocating for that law, the workday would be 16, 18, 20 hours a day. There would be no such thing as overtime. Unions made that happen. Okay? Unions argue for safe work environments. Anybody know what OSHA is? What's OSHA?
Organization of Safety and Health Association?
Close, very close. It's the Office of Safety and Health Administration. It's a government agency whose job it is to make sure that in your workplace, your employer is making sure to do everything reasonable to keep you safe as a worker. That wouldn't exist except unions said, you know what, too many people are losing their arms in the printing press. Too many people are losing their legs manufacturing Model T Fords or whatever. We need some rules that make our employers keep us safe as workers. Now, what does the owner think about that? The owner doesn't like that because the owner now needs to take a portion of that profit and make the factory safe, right? So it cuts into profits. So the conclusion here is what you may or may not have been taught about Marx is probably not accurate because Marx is actually a pretty brilliant social economist. In the 1840s, he is looking at the very birth moments of capitalism and saying, hey folks, this is what's going to happen. You need to wake up and pay attention. This is what's going to happen. And indeed, it has happened. And today, you live in a society that is underpinned by some of his ideas about how to make capitalism more stable for the workers, to flatten out this up and down curve. In the end, he believed no matter what you did, the workers were eventually going to revolt and change the system and take owners out. I think where he was wrong was in underestimating the power of the dominant ideology of the society to convince people that it's the best system. And stop imagining that there might be another way to organize labor that would lead to a different set of social relations and a different set of ideas in the society. And that's part of what we're trying to get you to think about, is that you can step out of the matrix, you can step out of the dominant ideology of your time, you can step out of the way society is organized around you and begin to think, how might it be organized differently? Because it is a product of our organization. We have some agency in the system. We can change it if we want. We'll see you on